Welcome to the Call Dad podcast, featuring your host, CEO and visionary, Matt Posda, and featuring special guest, Winston-Salem and Raleigh location manager, Dalton Huffman.
Welcome back, everyone, to another riveting installment. Can we say installments at this point? Installment of Fostering Communication. Today, we've got the one and only Dalton Huffman out of our, what are we calling this now? Is it Eastern
yeah.
North Carolina? So,
Eastern North Carolina, yep, that's it.
So good old Winston, the borough, and Raleigh.
The borough.
Yeah, that's a shout out for somebody. Somebody knows who I'm shouting out.
Old Jackson.
Yeah. Get a little borough in here.
He'll be proud. He'll be sharing it everywhere. Make sure everybody sees it. Look up from here.
Oh, wait, at the company meeting, like how many times he flashed?
He was flashing it?
Yeah, he was flashing the borough everywhere. All right, so Dalton Huffman, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you, this is a very broad range and open-ended question here, but talk to me about you, how you ended up in the trades. You can take it as far back as you want, all the way to childhood. You could take it from, your first day is an electrical. Were you an apprentice or were you just a helper? What did they call you at
So originally I first started out being an install helper.
Okay.
And then I was a lead in 3 months.
Okay. All right. So you can start there. You can go as far back as you want. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah. So I'll go back to high school and then kind of go fast forward a little bit. In high school, like they always ask us, what's your goal? Like, where do you want to be?
Yeah.
I always would say, like, I'm trying to be an electrician. Like, I want to get into trades. Electrical intrigued me a little bit. You got diagnosing, your service and stuff. So I was like, man, I really want to see what that's about.
What was it that sparked that interest?
Just I like work with my hands.
I know, but was there like was it through shop class in school? Was it like nothing in particular? You just knew that you liked.
No, I just knew trades were always going to be around.
Yeah.
Like, I had the thought process of doing like programming and stuff like that.
Yeah. But
I would get into it and I was like, man, this is complicated. Like, I can't just use my mind. Like, I want to use my hands and then try to figure things out. That was my biggest goal.
So it's probably a little bit of the combination of like also just like sitting at a freaking computer all day.
Yeah, I couldn't do that back then.
It wasn't something I wanted to do. Something.
Yeah. I definitely wanted to get out and, talk to people.
Yeah.
And fix their issues. Like, that was my goal.
Yeah.
But then,
because you were messing around, like you riding dirt bikes and all that back then, right?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I was
Why
riding.
didn't you ever think about being a mechanic or something?
Because my grandpa's a diesel mechanic, and I seen all the frustration went through him, and I was like, that is something I'm not trying to accomplish in my life.
So it was one individual that you knew that kind of set, all right, the standard I don't feel like dealing with.
Yeah, I was the kid holding the flashlight, and he's like, hey, man, over here. And I'm like, my bad, dude. Totally didn't realize that.
Is that how politely he said it?
No, definitely not. It was way worse.
Yeah, I feel like there was a little hidden truth in that.
Yeah, way worse.
Because, again, I knew that you were mechanically inclined and you liked, obviously, some sort of motorized equipment, stuff like that. So you had a gating factor that made you not go that path, but you still knew you liked to work with your hands.
Yeah, I knew it was in me. Like, my whole family's they're all mechanical inclined.
Yeah.
Like, my grandpa's a mechanic, my uncle's a mechanic. Like, everybody does something with them, like cars or motors.
Yeah.
In that case. But nobody ever went and ventured out into, like, the mechanical side of, like, at homes.
Yeah, so the true, like, trade dynamic of home service type.
Yeah, it was mostly, just doing automobiles and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But I got out of high school, started working at a smokehouse in Valdez, and I was the hiring manager there for like 3 years.
So you went in as the hiring manager?
So when I went in, I started out as like just a line cook, but probably 6 months in, they were like, hey, look, we see you're probably one of the best at this. You work hard. You're always here.
You show up and do your job?
Yeah, which is hard to find in the service industry when you're doing food. So because I used to deal with a lot of fun people back in the day.
Yeah.
But I did that for 3 years, and like I said, 6 months in, he came up to me. He's like, hey, man, how many hours are you looking to get a week? And I was like, at the time, they're only open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, so I worked.
How many hours you got?
Yeah, I was like, how many do you got? Yeah. So he's like, oh, you can come in on Monday, you unload the truck, go over our inventory, make sure the pricing's right, and then Tuesday I want you to come in, you'll just kind of oversee everybody and make sure everything's getting done so we're prepped up for Thursday to open up. So I did all that and kept doing it for like, I don't know, I guess 2.5 more years, and one day I walked in, clocked in, and I was like, man, this is not where I see myself. Like,
Was he progressively adding stuff to you? Was it like
No, it stayed
every
the
little
same.
bit he was like, hey, you want to do this?
It was all at once.
Okay, so everything came on and then you did the same stuff for 2.5 years.
Yeah, every week.
Was there frustration building, or it was literally a light switch one day you came in and you said...
I wouldn't say frustration. I think I was just, he kept telling me, like, we're going to open another store. You're going to help start this up.
Yeah.
Which they did down the road, which was like 3 years after I've been called dad. And I clocked in and I was like, man, this is not my future. Like, this is not what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I love the service part, like dealing with people and trying to lead them and help them out. But at the end of the day, I'm not trying to work in a restaurant and be hot and sweaty all day. Like, that's not my goal.
Yeah.
Chefs, go to the walk and get all the cooked beef. Slice it. Put it in jus. Get it now.
So,
you want to go be hot and sweaty in an attic?
It's much better than sitting there at the kitchen all day doing the same thing over and over. I got to have a different environment. That's my goal. Is like just change it up. I can't do the same thing over and over. Because then at that point you're like working at a factory, staring at the same four walls when you walk in. And I'm not doing that. And that's what my dad did. And I seen that, and I was like, that is not my mission.
You know what's funny is, even though I know you told me this story before, I don't think I ever truly connected the dots between you and David with regard to, like, David's conundrum of, like, that slow realization in the warehouse. Yeah. Until you just said warehouse, and it's like, it is very different paths and very different methods and leads into it, but very similar result in the sense of it's like, I can't do this. For the rest of my life. Yeah, and I remember I went in there and gave my 2-week notice to him. And I was like, "Hey, man, like I'm leaving." And he was like so stunned and shocked. He's like, "You really doing this to me?" I'm like, "This is not for me. I can't do this." So you gave notice? Oh, I didn't have anything. Nothing. I had nothing. I just like, dude, this is not for me. But there was nothing that was like. I didn't know where I was going. I had no idea. It wasn't like somebody, threw up in the kitchen and you were like, "Oh, I'm done." No, it was just one day you were like, "I quit." No, well, I didn't say I quit. I was like, "Look, I got to put my 2 weeks in. Like, this is not what I'm wanting to do. Like, I'm going to go venture out." And he's like, "What are you going to do?" And I was like, "I talked about being an electrician when I was younger. I'm going to try to see if I can venture out and do that." He was like, "Okay, well, good luck to you." It was like the day after I turned my 2 weeks in. Did you work the full 2 weeks? Good for you. Yeah, I worked the full 2 weeks. The second day after I turned my notice in, there was a guy sitting at a booth over there, and I was just checking up on him, just cleaning up the table, asking how they're doing. He was like, "I'm doing pretty good, man." He said, "You look like a pretty big guy. You carry heavy stuff?" And I was like, yeah, I can do that." He said, "You interested in heating and air?" I said, "Never thought about it. So I'd like to be an electrician one day." He said, "Well, this company's got a sister company named Beagle Electric." And I was like, "Okay." So we just kept talking and talking and talking. He was like, "Meet me at Bojangles tomorrow." So that was a Sunday. It was a Saturday night when I was talking to him. He's like, "Meet me at Bojangles tomorrow. Meet me there like 8:30. I said, "Okay." So I met up with him. Well, he ends up being the install manager at Climate Control. Okay. So we sit down, we start talking. He basically just asked me what I could lift. I mean, that was all it was for. I don't think he intended me to. How much can you lift? Yeah, how you carry heavy things? Like, you don't mind? I was like, "No, whatever I can do." He was like, "So would you be okay just starting in heat and air, and then maybe we could move you to electrical eventually?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine with that." So, and that's how heat and air started. So I started doing that for a couple months. How long in between did you start right when you finished? So as soon as my 2 weeks ended, I went that next day and started. And they just throw you on an install as a helper? They threw me on an install. We was at a big factory on 321 putting up those ceiling heaters. Yeah. And I was like, this is what he meant by lifting something heavy, man. Yeah. I was the only guy picking it up the ladder. Everybody's like, "You got that?" I'm like, "Sure, man." There's no duck jack in that scenario. No, so I'm sitting there lifting that thing up. I just kept doing that for a while, and then people started coming through the company, leaving. Yeah. And when was that? Do you remember? That was 2018. Okay. Yeah, 2018. I don't remember the exact month, but it was that year. I don't know why. I thought you were there less before we bought Climate Control. I should have been there 3 years. Yeah, that's crazy to me. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I had a year in my head for some reason. I don't know. Well, why. I did leave to go to Beagle, and then I came back. Okay. Is that what's confusing me then? Yeah. You bounced back and forth between the two. Yeah, because they were like, "Hey, look, we're going to switch you. We have my son-in-law," which
at the time, my service manager had a bunch of family in the organization, and they were trying to fill it up with their family.
Yeah.
That's the thing about family owned. You got a bunch of political aspect to it when you're trying to get work. So,
which still is, believe it or not, like the majority of this industry.
Oh yeah, still
the
this day.
family dynamic.
Yeah. Like if you're not a son or a cousin or an uncle or something, you ain't going nowhere. You're stuck where you're at.
Yeah. And even if you are a son, a cousin, or an uncle, you're stuck.
Yeah, you usually are stuck. Yeah, usually they're not growing, not trying to do anything. Which I was realizing that. I was like, man, we're not doing anything. Like it's the same.
Yeah.
So I went over to the electrical side and done all that, and we worked on Apple solar farm for like 5 months.
Yeah.
So I'm out here in this heat, lifting these panels, taking off these arms that are moving the panels to
Still
track the
lifting
sun.
weight.
Yeah. And just doing that over and over, and I was like, God, this is unbearable. The electrical job sucks. I'm just heating and air. Like heating and air is so much better. Like I was just talking about wanting to change my environment. I'm coming up to the same solar farm every month.
We were joking about ADD before this, so we've discovered that that pointless repetition over time is not your strong suit.
No, it is not. Not at all. I was like, man, this is terrible. And then we'd come out at night. They're like, okay, the solar panels will be discharged. We need to be out here at 1 a.m. so we can mess with these inverters. I'm like, sounds good. So we show up, and we're out there, and there's sheep everywhere because they got to keep the grass down. We're out there just working. And then we go into the little, it's like a trailer or something just to go in and take a break. Come outside and you hear stuff like hollering and stuff. I'm like, what is that noise? They're like, oh, that's the wolves eating those sheep. I'm like, dude. What? Or coyotes, not wolves.
I was like, hold on.
Yeah.
When were there wolves in
North Carolina? Yeah. No, it was coyotes, but they were eating the sheep, and I was like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting moved off that project, and they're like, we'll try you in residential service. Like, go out there, and you can help pull wire and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I did that for a while, and
you're like, you can't leave me out here with these wolves.
And there's only 2 of us at that time. I'm like, dude, there ain't no way. I got this old guy with me.
Did you ever confirm that, or were coyotes really taking?
I didn't go look, buddy. I wasn't going for it.
Have you ever heard a fox scream at night?
I have not.
Like that is one of the most terrifying. Like I'll never forget the first time I went camping and heard a fox out in the field. It is one of the most terrifying sounds ever. I could see somebody telling you that that's a wolf taking a sheep down.
No, he's like, man, there are coyotes out there taking it down. I was like, dude, we are not hanging out here at all. He's like, yeah, we usually have 5 people here at night. And I'm like, yeah. I said, it's just me and you. And this is older dude. I'm like, this guy, he'll probably trip me or something. Let me get eaten. I'm like, that's what he's going to do to me. Like, I'm not trying to hang around for that.
What happened to the guy before me, boss?
That's why we go 3 people, man. They get eaten alive.
All right.
So then I started doing residential service and kind of messing around with it a little bit.
You're talking residential service on the electrical side, sorry.
Yeah, they took me off the project. They started putting temp agencies out there. They're like, hey, look, we don't get some temp guys. The finishing product's pretty easy. They just got to keep picking up panels and moving them. We already had them all installed.
And they were on the residential side. They were dealing with some new construction and reno stuff, right? So
yeah, we did some new construction.
Cable.
Yeah, we just pulling wire and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then it started slowing down, and I was like, man, what is going on? Why are we not getting busier? It's getting slower. So they take on a massive project, which is U-Haul in Hickory.
Yeah.
So they put me on there, and they're like, all right, we want you to read these blueprints, start running wire. And I was like, dude, I've never read a blueprint in my life. And he said, oh, it's not bad. Just take a look at them. You'll figure them out. I'm like, okay, sounds good. So I got these 2 guys with me that are brand new, never done it. One's completely green, like he showed up like 2 days, but the other guy, he's never done any commercial, it's just residential. Yeah. And I'm like, I haven't done any commercial either, so this is interesting. So, but we just start pulling wire.
Was it 3-phase too?
Yeah.
Oh my.
3-phase, yeah. So we're just pulling wire and pulling wire and pulling wire, and I said, dude, I gotta get back to heating air. This is not for me. Like, pulling wire is not what I want to do. Like, this electrical mess that I figured I knew in high school of being like, oh, you'd go out and find stuff. No, this is sit here and watch your arms move all day. And I was like, this is not for me. I can't do that. So, and then that's when I came back to Climate. They were like, hey, you want to transfer back over? We need a lead installer. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. And I came back, and I think it was a week later you guys bought.
Yeah.
And I was like, heck yeah, man. Somebody knew. Maybe we're going to do something with this.
So when we came in and bought Climate, you were the only person that stayed.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, for sure.
And do you remember? I'm trying to remember. I know a few people, it was immediate. Like, I'm not working for
a corporation.
Yeah, some big
that.
corporation and all that, blah, 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 blah. Some tried for a little bit, and then, I think like one or two like came back, but then they let
one of them came back, or two of them came back, and they were like, "Oh, we'll test it out," and they didn't last long.
So there was a lot of moving pieces, but ultimately, when the dust settled, I think you were the only person.
Yeah, I was the last
that stayed.
one.
Yeah.
So and everybody kept asking me like, "Why'd you do it?" I said, "Well, I feel like these people before really didn't know what they're doing, weren't moving." I said, "So why not give these new guys a chance, and I'll show them what I can do and see where I can go."
Yeah.
And I remember, like, the first time I talked to Derek, we sat down. He was like, "What's your goal, man?" I said, "My goal is to get my HVAC license and start my own company."
Yeah.
He said, "Would you do that with a company? Like, if we got your license, would you work with us?" I said, "Oh, absolutely. Like, I would do that in a heartbeat."
Yeah.
He said, "All right, I'll keep that in mind."
Yeah.
And then we never spoke of it again. Never talked about it again. And then, obviously now.
I was going to say, don't say never, because...
Yeah. Well, I'm saying at that time, like, we never spoke about it again.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh.
Derek just pocketed that information.
Yeah, and used it years down the road.
Yeah.
He was like, "Hey, man, it's time." "Oh, okay. Sounds good."
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a chance. Like, at the end of the day, you got new people coming in. Everything that people were saying didn't add up to me, and I was like, why would I leave and go somewhere else and basically do the same thing?
Yeah.
Like, this is my opportunity to take right now.
Yeah.
So that's why I stayed, just to see what you guys had in plan, and obviously it worked out.
I assume there was definitely a skeptical period, and it's a hard thing, right? Is a business. We talk about that all the time. Where like, I think like the analogy that I try to work with is like complaining to the guy next to you in the trench.
Don't do nothing.
Never solves anything. Like,
makes it worse.
Correct.
Yeah.
Ever. And what, again, I find a lot is people work things up so much in small groups that they build things up to be way more than they are. When instead, if you just popped your head up and said, "Hey, what's going on with this?" or "What do we need to do?"
get the
"Why
answer.
are we doing this?" Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, it goes both ways, because a company should be owning the why themselves and working that information down the chain and working through it and all that. But that, dude, it's a hard thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
So you had people in the trench next to you who were constantly chirping negativity at you, yet you were able to brush it off.
I didn't have, and this sounds bad, but I didn't have much respect for the people that I was working with at the time anyways, because like I told you, it was very political, so I knew this is the family that I've been dealing with for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, what they say, they're just upset because they're not in control anymore, basically.
Yeah.
So I just kind of brushed it off. I was like, I'm just going to show these guys what I can do and see where I can go from this.
Yeah.
That was my goal.
You've heard 80-20 rule before, or 80-20 principle?
I don't believe so.
The premise behind it is that 20% of the workforce does 80% of the work.
Okay.
Right. There's only a select group of people that are really working the best.
Yeah.
Luckily, that doesn't apply at Call Dad, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But I've always taken 80-20 and kind of applied it to culture, and this goes way back to like Ron Smith, his book on HVAC and all that. But it's this principle that the 80-20 in application to culture is that you've got 10% culture carriers that are A-team players, and you've got 10% culture carriers that are F-team players. And then the 80% is kind of the pendulum in the middle, and depending on who is more outspoken, the culture swings. So if you've got a culture where the 10% at the bottom, those guys who are complaining, those guys who are just bickering all the time, always touting the horn of this is terrible, that's terrible, like that 80% is going to swing into negativity very fast. And I think what Derek did in that exact example is like tried to be just more outspoken as an A-team player to say, hey, those of you that want to swing to this side of it, this is what we're trying to do. This is what we're trying to accomplish. So just trying to put more A-team players in place that could be kind of outspoken, if you will, about the positivities. Now, it sounds like the vast majority it didn't matter which, right?
The majority of them.
Yeah. But at least you heard through the fog, Derek's voice of like, hey, we're actually trying to do something.
Yeah, and that was me. I was going off that, and I was like, okay, there's hope here.
Yeah.
Like, there's actually something they're trying to do. So
yeah.
Because the previous company, they wouldn't tell you anything, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was like, come in and go to work. If you do something wrong, I'll tell you, and that's about it. That's all you got.
Yeah.
There wasn't nothing like, hey, down the road, we'll get you here. And I think that was a big thing for me. It's like, all right, I'm going to learn this trade, and I'm going to go somewhere else and try to be something.
Yeah.
And at that time, in my head, I was like, every heat and air company's got to be this way, right?
Yeah, it's the same story, right?
Yeah, so it's the same story. So I'm going to have to do this myself. I'm going to have to start my own. Like, that's my only thinking.
Yeah.
Luckily, I was wrong. So
Yeah. When did the conversation with regard to management and location and all that type of stuff start happening with you?
I guess that was about 2 years in, after being a service tech and stuff. I think David was at the time going Outer Banks and all that.
Yeah.
And then Derek sat down with me and was like, hey, man, we got one in Yackenville coming up. What do you think? And I was like, oh, I'm cool for it. Like, I'll drive. At the time, I said I'll move.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was cool with that. I'll move down there and do all that.
Yeah.
And then I talked to Stuart, and we went through some things. He was like, you sure you're cool with moving down? I was like, oh, yeah. And that's kind of how it went. It was actually at Topgolf, and Stuart told me about it. And I think 3 days later, we ended up going down there and speaking to everybody.
Yeah.
It was about 2 years in. So.
Yeah. Did you ever have any inclination that you wanted to get into management? I mean, I know you said about, like, owning your own business one day, but, like, again, owning your own business, managing and leading are very...
Two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I did manage it before at that restaurant, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like, you get to sit there and you get to help people. That's my goal. Like, I want to help somebody and build them into something.
Yeah.
And not saying, like, to be a parent or nothing, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of people in this world that don't have a lot of guidance, and I want to be that influence if I can.
Yeah.
Like, that's my goal in life.
Yeah.
So management was a very intriguing thing to me at the time.
Yeah.
And it always has been.
So tell me, did you say something to Derek, or Derek came to you just because you were working well?
That's what I'm telling you. I think it's that conversation about the license thing that came up.
He pulled that information from out, like what we said earlier, he stuck it in his back pocket. Like, he pulled that back out.
Yeah, and he brought it up to me. He's like, hey, are you still interested in this? I'm like, oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm still, like, I'm cool with that. If we can get my license, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then it happened.
And the rest
quickly.
is history. Yeah. Faster than you ever
Very
imagined.
quick. I remember talking to you, you was like, this is going to happen quick. Oh, yeah, about 2-3 weeks. No, it was 3 days, man. I was sitting there talking to a bunch of people I didn't know, and I was like, oh, yeah, here it comes.
When that first day that you were in that position, what was going through your head?
These guys are going to think I'm a complete idiot. That was the first thing that went through my head. Especially looking around, seeing the age difference, me being so young, and like how they've been doing it for 30 years and plus, and I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna go well. Yeah. Like, this guy don't even know how to wipe his butt or something. Man. So,
well, especially compared to you went through it on the other end.
Yeah,
just relatively.
And I seen the basically the story they got from it without even asking questions. So I'm sitting there like, okay, I need to try to explain this as best as possible.
Yeah.
But even if you do that, they still have something they're going to go off of and create.
Yeah.
Like you said, if you got 10% that's negative, which in my case was that, the whole team's going to be that way.
Yeah,
so.
And that culture had been like that for such a long time, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you were definitely fighting against the grain there a little bit.
Yeah, and I think my ego had a big play in it, too. Like, I had a very large ego. Like, you do what I say, or it's not going to be good for you.
Yeah. Speaking of ego, right? Like, I find, in my experience, that's usually one of the hardest things of any leader to get past, especially in situations like that where you're new to management. I mean, the first few times I was thrust into management similar to you, like very young age. Every job that I ever had, even as like teenager level, like I would get thrown responsibility. And it was always a situation where I would end up having to manage somebody who's like twice my age. And it's like, you think the only solution is ego. How did you start to navigate that? Was it just like literally hot pot? Like, oh crap, that didn't work?
Yeah, it was failure.
Yeah.
Obviously you had some guys that we're like, this guy is crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like, he is off the edge all the time. And I was, because it's a lot of responsibility. I was trying to make sure everything's taken care of, make sure customers were good, trying to grow us at the same time.
Yeah.
And, I just let it with a stick, man. Wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
Did not work.
No.
To my favor.
Yeah. Was it any particular thing that you started noticing, or was it just...
Yeah, I didn't build good relationships with the guys.
Yeah.
Like, instead of sitting down and trying to understand where they came from, I was trying to force them to see what I was trying to do, instead of trying to get their buy-in on it and take.
Yeah.
That was my struggle.
Yeah.
But once I figured it out, it made things a lot easier.
Yeah.
A lot easier.
Now, the important thing to talk about here is that there's also, like, the opposite end. Right, which some people take the heavy stick approach in their first time managing, and then other people will take, I'm going to be your friend.
Be your best friend. Let's hang out every day.
Yeah. Which, we were just talking about that yesterday as a group. It is so much easier to give slack than it is to take it, right? So once you set that I'm going to be your buddy dynamic, and then you try and push accountability, it doesn't work, right? But then if you come in with a heavy stick, then no one's going to trust you or respect you to be able to actually hold accountable. So what do you do? How do you find balance?
So, that's a tricky question. You really got to figure out your team. Like, that's the biggest thing. See what kind of personalities you have and who you're dealing with and how to lead them.
Yeah.
And that's something I didn't do. I treat everybody the same, and you can't do that.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. Everybody's got something going on at home way different than the other person. So you got to figure out how to mitigate it and really get to the bottom of it so they understand what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And make them be a part of it. Like, that's the goal.
Yeah.
And that's something I could not do. Like, I'm telling you, it was so hard.
Do you think it was like, because you brought this up, right? Building relationships. What, you were just too impatient to build relationships?
I wanted to.
Or you didn't? Yeah.
I don't think I wanted to.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I knew it all, right? Like, I was a young manager. I got the role, and I was like, oh, yeah, I know how to do heating. I've been killing it in Hickory. Like, this is
validation of how good I am.
Yeah. Like, I'm about to show you guys. And it just didn't work. Yeah. I managed everybody like I was managing myself. Like, I'm that kind of guy. Like, I'll go work, and I'll do whatever. You just ask me, I'll knock it out.
Yeah.
And these guys are not that way. They were trying to get the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And then if they can get away with something, they wanted to get away with it also.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That was the big learning aspect for me.
Yeah. All of us are still learning how to navigate that, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that there's ever, again, back to the balance dynamic, I don't think that there's any perfect answer to leadership. I think, as we talk with Echelon Front a lot, like, almost everything is a dichotomy. Mm-hmm. Right? There's some points where you have to be aggressive, then there's some points where you're too aggressive, then there's some points where you're not aggressive enough, or you're weak, or you're too capitulating. Yeah. Like, there's it's always just finding a balance. And to your point, it's understanding balances and knowledge of the individual and knowledge of the situation, not just having a blanket approach that you take with everybody.
Yeah, try and treat everybody the same. That's not the way.
Yeah.
If anybody knows, I do. I'm telling you, it was rough. That was.
Was it hard for you to realize the ego dynamic, or was it you just thought like the approach wasn't working, or realizing that you were doing it because you were inserting yourself in the decisions?
It was very hard. In my eyes, it was their fault.
Yeah.
Like, hey, they're not trying to get on board what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So I made them basically not fit the mission. And at the end of the day, it was me, right? Like, I looked back on it and talked to Derek a couple of times, and I was like, man, it is me. Like, I'm sitting here trying to lead these guys. Like I said, just like somebody would lead me, and that is not the answer to it.
Yeah.
So definitely, it's probably the hardest things I've learned in this position.
Yeah. Well, also, on top of that, like, on top of just learning how to manage, the role itself was constantly changing too, right? Like,
and it was a little bit overwhelming at first.
Yeah. Like, what you were tasked with doing day one was very different from what you were tasked with doing a day,
30.
Correct. 6 months in, 12 months in, 18 months in, 24,
Yeah.
like it's constantly been an evolving role. So
Yeah.
having to evolve to the role itself of the job, plus having to learn how to manage people is not an easy task.
Yeah, and I think another thing that was really like a struggle is you're trying to manage, and obviously when you got a new company, you're trying to make sure the work's getting done. So you're out there trying to help, make sure they're doing it our way.
Yeah.
So when you're doing out in the field and you got to go back home, work on the computer, then you got to answer all their questions, you get really overwhelmed. It's like, okay, like we got to figure out a way to get this going.
Yeah.
And then when they don't listen, that's when you're like, my answer is the right answer. And like, if you do it this way, I wouldn't have all these problems. But at the end of the day, it was myself creating the issues.
Correct.
So,
and there's a lot of problems with the field dynamic because it's twofold. The ego will tell you that the only person that can do it right is me, so I got to go do it. There's the underlying tone of like savior complex that happens in this industry because, again, we like solving problems, right? We get excited about fixing a customer's issue and giving them a solution that works and all that. Like, there's excitement to removing uncertainty. Yeah. So there's part of you when you get an opportunity to go save the day, right?
Yeah,
like,
it
am I
feels
wrong?
good.
You're
No,
like,
it feels
yeah,
good.
I'm gonna go. Oh, hell yeah, I'm gonna go help.
Yeah,
like,
I was like, man, I can figure out anything.
put me
you
in,
throw
coach.
At me. Yeah.
Right? So there's that dynamic, and then on top of that, it's a comfort place, right? Like, it's what you know, it's what you're comfortable doing.
That's what I was used to. Yeah.
So having an opportunity to get back to a comfort spot, you're gonna jump on in a heartbeat. But every time you do those things that just described, all you're doing is putting yourself further behind the 8-ball.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And which I figured that out later on.
Yeah.
Especially as you had other people growing with me at the same time. It was like, man, how'd they get there so quick?
Yeah.
And it was that difference.
Yeah.
I just wasn't leading the correct way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
All right. So how long were we in Yadkinville?
I think it was a year and a half.
Yeah. And then finally.
I was tired of walking outside looking at pastures all day.
What are you talking about? You don't make fun of Yadkinville.
Oh, I'm not making fun of Yadkinville. I'm just telling
That's what it sounded like you were making fun of Yadkinville.
Well, you drive 601 for a couple of days and see how it goes.
I did it for a few days. Only a few days, okay?
I remember Matt, he was like, man, it's such a peaceful drive. I'm like, dude, I'm losing my mind. I'm like, I don't know what peace you're finding out here, but it's not the peace I'm looking for.
What was not peaceful about it?
Well, yeah, a lot of schools. So every time I had to go home, I had to stop.
Buses?
Yeah, you sit there and stop and wait. I'm like, dude. And then you ask somebody, like, hey, you ever heard of us? Nope. Where you at? Yadkinville. That's probably why. Okay, well, I appreciate it.
See, that sounds like ego again.
It might be. It might be.
Repping straight out of Yakin.
Yeah.
I had to spend quite an amount of time during that transaction at, banks and different places down in Yadkinville, and it was definitely an
good
experience.
people. Like,
yeah,
it's good
great people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just really different. Like it's crazy.
The town was actually pretty cool. Like I would have never come across it otherwise.
Very small, but it is cool.
Yeah.
I was thinking in my head, I was like, Hickory and Yadkinville, man, gotta be similar. No, nowhere.
Yeah. Plus, we knew at the time, like, the relevance and importance of, Google business profiles, like GBPs and all that, but it wasn't until, probably, I don't know, 21, 22 that they really started becoming important for, like, the near me searches. So by the time we shifted that, which was when was that? Would that have been late?
It's late 2022.
Late 22, yeah. We knew that, like, all right, we got to get into a zip code that would have closer proximity to customers that we want to serve.
Yeah, I think like Yadkinville was scattered. Like, it's very...
Yeah, and it was just dead smack in the middle of two markets. It didn't really serve its purpose.
Yeah, because I was pretty close to Hickory. It was only like an hour drive or 50 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
Which now we're like, an hour and 30 or something.
Yeah.
So we got more distance.
Yeah. Looking at future, what are your thoughts? What do you see as our biggest challenges, things we need to work on, where we need to grow as a business, how we could get better?
I don't really see any. Obviously, we got to keep growing ourselves as individuals and our leadership skills, which is what we're doing with Echelon Front. This week we had a couple of and then we got to learn. We got to get better at growing other individuals below us. And when I say us, I mean us regional managers. Like, we got to get better at doing what you guys did to us, doing it to them. So in the future, we do got more leaders to take over and help out.
Yeah. How do you think we do that?
Well, I think it starts with us, making sure we understand our leadership point, which is, like I said, we got echelon front. So once we get all that done and we got a very good standing on the leadership role, I think that's when we really start picking and choosing and trying to guide people to the direction. As long as they're wanting it, right? Like, that's the goal. As long as they want to do it and they're willing to do it. Yeah. But as you said many times, there's plenty of opportunity coming. So you got to make sure we're prepared for it.
It's like every year that we look back, it's like even roles that we thought that we would need or have, we end up with so much more. Just, again, creating opportunities or solving problems, like realizing, like, oh crap, this needs to be different, and we end up coming up with a new role to provide a solution. Like, it's all the time stuff is coming up. But yeah, you're right, we need to do a good job. I think what Katie's done through CDU on some of the leadership development stuff is a great opportunity to get people better. But it's incumbent. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but it's incumbent upon you to help grow that next base, right? Yeah. Help give them the lessons that you unfortunately had to learn the hard way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do now, and it's fun. I enjoy that part. They're like, because they get frustrated about something, and they're like, I don't understand why I do it this way. I'm like, because if you do it the other way, it ain't going to be fun, because I've already done it that way. So just let me tell you. Yeah. So we always go through that spiel a lot, especially with my guys, like just trying to make sure they understand it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing we have to do. Is just, we got to focus on the future and get everybody ready. Yeah. Because we're coming, man.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to wrap up with on you, that I've brought this up now in orientation with Dad U, which is A Little Extra Effort. That book has, for me at least, it's corny, but it's awesome because it's so practical and the application of it is so basic that the whole premise of all you have to do is just give a little extra effort, right? Yeah. So how did you come across that? And then what has that meant to you over the years?
So the grandpa that I was talking about the flashlight, that's how I came across that. Actually, I would always help him work on cars and things like that. We'd change motors at a pretty early age. I was probably like 10 or 11 or 12. We'd always be doing something like that, working on something. Yeah. And it was actually about a flashlight, man. I was sitting there holding the flashlight, and I would never listen. It was my fault. Like, I would never listen. He'd be like, shine it here for me. I was like, okay. And I just didn't pay attention. And then one day he just sat me down. He's like, I just want you to see something. And I was like, okay. And he pulled out this paper. It was like super old. And I had to scan it. It was that old. Yeah. He's like, just read this. And it was talking about effort. He's like, if you just give a little bit more effort, you can go a long way. And you really struggle with that. He's like, if you could just listen and put that light in the right way, I wouldn't yell at you. And I was like, that's probably the truth, man. I appreciate that.
You never, I know you told me that your grandfather gave it to me, or to you, but you never told me that it involved your
It involved with helping him. He was like, if you just gave a little extra effort, you wouldn't have to hear about it. And I was like, that's fair. I'm sorry. Yeah, I totally get it. And the thing is, even when he did that, it still didn't click. Yeah. It took till about I was like 17, 16, and I started referring back to it. And I was
maybe last year, but
yeah, or that. And I was like, man, if I could just went back and just really studied this. Yeah. But it's an awesome book. Like I said, it's super simple, straight to the point. And my favorite thing in that thing is the ladder. It's like, you just give it a little bit extra effort, you're passing everybody, because nobody does that.
Yeah. Because nobody, like, doing the basics. Nobody does the basics. Mm. I try to every quarter read it. It's funny, I've thought about, like, do I read that at bedtime to the kids? But I've always wondered, like, without a actual, like, example, does it just go in one ear and out the other? So, like, how do you give it to, like, apply, like, an application of it?
Like an example?
Yeah, like something that resonates. But I never thought of, the time that they suck at doing something that I asked, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, that's really like what it was.
Hey, Dalton, have a seat, buddy.
He was furious, man. I remember he just sat down and he was like, this is what you need. And I'm like, oh, okay, sounds good. Yeah. It's like, it's simple enough for you to read to.
Yeah. I always love growing myself through people that I work with, right? And that is one of my favorite things of all time that somebody's given me or shared with me. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you to your grandfather.
Yeah.
Thank you for sucking at holding a flashlight that resulted in that knowledge. That it is a hard thing to find, but the guy who wrote it and the way that he wrote it is,
it's crazy. Yeah.
Super simple.
Especially being that time of the time, that far back. It's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But anyway, I want to bring that up and say thank you for sharing that. If anybody listening wants a copy of that sucker, you gave it to me in PDF. I've still got it in PDF.
Yeah, that's how I got it on my phone.
Yeah. I will email it to you. So email me or email Dalton, and we'll get that out to you. Just a little extra effort.
Send it your way. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate you sitting down with me. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk to you. Bye. Thank you.